Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We know that Ukraine is a Christian country, and we also know that Ukraine is a good country. We know that Russia is a bad country and is kind of like Christian, you know what I mean? So therefore we know that Ukraine is good and Russia is bad. We also know that the United States is the best, and we have a little problem here. And the problem is the Christian nation and good nation of Ukraine wants cluster bombs. Now, why did I mention Christianity in this? Because I know that in Christianity, someone said something like, what you don't like to be done unto you, don't do it unto others, right? I think that's how it goes. I think it's the golden rule, right? Something like that. Well, I know that I think it was about May last year, maybe June, the Ukrainians sniff, cried a little bit, saying that the evil Russians, because they're evil, use cluster munition. So that's not good, because they're evil. Okay, well, what can you do? As a Christian, you turn the other cheek and let him punch you really hard. Or, better, love the Russians, if you're Christian. Okay, now what happened here? The Ukrainians asked, I think it was in October or November last year, they asked Germany for cluster munition. Or they asked the European Union, they want a cluster munition. It was when it was the Munich security, whatever that was, meeting, conference in Munich. The Ukrainians asked everybody, we want cluster munition, and all that. And they want white phosphorus weapons as well, bombs. Germany said, well, that's not good. A good country would not do that. Ukraine said, pfft. Now what they do? They go and ask United States of America, another good country, Christian country, Judeo-Christian, mind you, for cluster munition. Now, it's not illegal to use it. My point is, if you cried that those guys used it against you, you probably not like that. And you are crying to the Western backers, not Boris Becker, but backers, sponsors, about that. And now you wanted it again? Now let's see what exactly these guys, how they issue their demand. This article comes from from Reuters via Yahoo News. Ukraine seeks U.S. cluster bombs to adapt for drone use. Now, this article comes from March 6th, 2023. Okay, it says here that by Jonathan Landay. Ukraine has broadened a request for controversial cluster bombs from the United States to include a weapon that it wants to cannibalize to drop the anti-armor bomblets it contains on Russian forces from drones, according to two U.S. lawmakers. So let's see what these little things are. Cannibalize. All right. Cluster munition. So cluster munition is a form of air-dropped or ground-launched explosive weapon that releases or ejects smaller submunitions. Commonly this is a cluster bomb that ejects explosive bomblets that are designed to kill personnel and destroy vehicles. So this is one example in 1960s, okay? So you can see how they're little inside the bigger one. And now I'm going to go to a map where you have the map of the country's signatories right here. Nations subscribing to the Wellington Declaration, which led to the Convention on Cluster Munition. So some countries said, well, we banned that, we disagree with that. Let's see what countries did that. So we have here the ones with this beautiful blue said, yes, we don't use cluster munitions. The other one says, yeah, we like them. United States, not a signatory. Canada is a signatory because Canada is good. And then we have here Europe, all of it besides Poland and Romania and Ukraine and Belarus, and I think this is Latvia, Estonia, this is Lithuania, I know that, and it's Estonia. So see, and Russia didn't. Turkey didn't, Greece didn't, Bulgaria did, so Moldova did. So the Ukrainians will not do anything, but no, they will be just on the other side of history. But it's okay, they're with the United States and with Russia on the same side, including China, mind you, right here. Let's see, Australia, yes. New Zealand, yes. So it's not banned like in an international, it's just a, you know, a convention that certain countries said, well, we're not going to use it. But if you cried before about the Russians using it right here, and you wanted to use it now again, doesn't say some good things about you, I think. So let's get further with this one. Kiev has urged members of Congress to press the White House to approve sending the weapons, but it is by no means certain that the Biden administration will sign off on that. Cluster munition banned by more than 120 countries normally release large numbers of smaller bomblets that can kill indiscriminately over a wide area, threatening civilians. Ukraine is seeking the Mk-20, an air-delivered cluster bomb, to release its individual explosives from drones, said U.S. Representatives Jason Crow and Adam Smith, who both serve on the House of Representatives Armed Service Committee. That is, in addition to 155mm artillery cluster shells that Ukraine already has requested. They said Ukrainian officials urged U.S. lawmakers at last month's Munich Security Conference to press for White House approval. That's when the German says, was ist das, mein Freund? That's unbelievable. Ukraine hopes cluster munitions will give it an edge in the grinding fight against Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian government has said publicly that it wants U.S. cluster munition. The petition for Mk-20s, also known as CBU-100s, has not been reported previously. The Ukrainian embassy referred Reuters to the defense ministry in Kiev, which did not immediately respond to a request for comment. A National Security Council spokesperson said that while Ukraine and the White House closely coordinate on military aid, she had no new capabilities to announce. Fight the human wave. So that's a different thing right here. This is, as I said, if you don't like those guys using it against you and you consider it immoral, or because that's why they were crying, then you come and you say, well, I want to use the same shit. Well, okay, use the same thing. What do you think? I mean, Ukraine is not a signatory of Wellington Convention. United States is not. Russia is not. Therefore, let them bomb the shit one another. Okay? If they want that, what can I say? I don't have a say anyway, but I'm just giving my a little, you know. But it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't want you. He's using those cluster munition. Hey, can you give me some too? All right. Well, they will get them if the war doesn't end by then. They will get it. They will get everything. The only thing they will not get will be submarines, warships. That's not because they wouldn't, but they have to. They can give them only one, and it's not viable in the Black Sea. So zero. Rather, the Westerners can use the submarines in the Black Sea, and atomic bombs. That's the extent to which, you know, the aid goes. Boom, stops right there. I think that group troops are over there under a different kind of euphemistic term. I don't know, the peace-loving, lovers, perfect, fantastic something, volunteers. You put volunteer and that clears everything. You know, a criminal volunteer, a rapist volunteer, I don't know, murderer volunteer. Oh, it's volunteer. The same here. Yeah, I want to send volunteers. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.